Okay, today we're going to go over Mod 1 Lesson 5 practice problems. Was the name decimal fractions in expanded unit and word forms by applying place value reasoning. Now we're going to use a place value chart to try to help us with this. The first two have been done for us. Well, we're going to go to C right here. And we can see it says 9 and. Anytime you see and, that's got to throw, that there means a decimal point. 235 thousandths. And there's the key word. So we know 9 and, so if we come down our place value chart, there's our and it's just saying 9. So that's 9 and. It says 235 thousandths. Well, we know the 5 is going to be in the thousandths position. And the rest of the number says 235. Remember, when we're on the decimal fraction side of the decimal, we read it as a whole number with the last digit saying the place value. So this is 9 and 235 thousandths. Now we go to D. This one says 800 and, there's an and again, 5 thousandths. So we're going to come to the very front first, and it says 800. We're going to write that in standard form, 800 in our place value chart. You can see that says 8 hundredths. And, which is our decimal point, 5 thousandths. So we're going to go to the thousandths position, and we're going to write the 5 in. Now we have two empty place values, and we have to put placeholders in there of 0. So now we have 800 and 5 thousandths. We're going to go to F now. This is a little different. They're actually showing a decimal as a fraction. And if you read it, we're going to read the top first, and that says 28, and then we're going to say the place value underneath, which is 1,000. The denominator of a fraction is the place value. So in this case, it says 28 1,000ths. So I'm going to go, and just like we did before, the last digit in the number, which happened to be 8, I'm going to put it in the thousandths place. So I'm going down my place value chart, and I can see this is thousandths, so I'm going to put the 8 there. Now I'm going to put the 2 in front of it. Now we have an empty spot here in the tenths position, so we're going to put a placeholder. And it's very common to put a 0 in front of the decimal point when we do not have a whole number. So we can see this now reads 0 and 28 thousandths. On G, now we have a mixed number, which means a whole number and a fraction. The whole number is obviously going to go on the right side of the decimal point, and this says 7 ones. And, because now we're going on the decimal side, decimal fraction side, 528 thousandths. So we're looking at the last digit, which is an 8, and I'm going to put that in the thousandths position. And now I can put the 528 in there. So now we can see this is 7 and 528 thousandths. Now we're going to be expressing them in word form. Now we're going to use the place value chart again to help us with this. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this number right here, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the proper places in the place value chart. Now if we read the question, we're going to read the number, we're going to write it exactly the way we read it. We're going to start off, this is 15, so 15. We have a decimal, so we're going to say and. Now on the decimal fraction side, we're going to read the number to 62. And then we're going to read the place value, thousandths. So 15 and 62 thousandths. Now once again, we're going to use our place value chart, and I'm just going to plug the digits in the proper place values first. Now I'm going to read the whole number first, which is 607. And 409 thousandths. I'm going to write the thousandths down underneath. Once again, 607 and 409 thousandths. This time, we're still using our place value chart, and I'm going to plug the number into it. Well, we're going to write this in expanded form. When we're writing expanded form, we're basically going to take the digit that's in the place value times the place value. And we show this as we're going to start the 0 we really don't have to take care of, but the 3 we do. And we're going to go 3 times the place value, which is 1/10, plus, we're going to go to the next digit, 6 times the place value, which is 1/100ths, plus 2 times place value, 1/1000ths, excuse me. The place value chart is a very nice tool, and if you put it in it and you see it every time, it's very hard to make a mistake. So we're going to put 49 and 564 thousandths. Once again, we're going to take the digit, which you have in this case is 4, times the place value in this case, which is 10, plus 9, at 9, times 1, plus, down here with a 5 times place value in this case, which is 1/10, plus 6 times place value with 1/100th, plus 4 times place value 1/1000ths. Now, if you notice that this is the place value, 4 times 10, plus 9 times 1, plus 5 times 1/10, plus 6 times 1/100ths, plus 4 times 1/10. Each one of these denote the value in this place value, so it is the sum of all those place values. Now we're going to go the opposite way. A minute ago we took a standard number and we put it in standard form, we put it into an expanded value. This time we're going to take the expanded value and we're going to turn it into a standard number. And we're going to start by coming up top to our number, and it says 3 times 10, which also means a 3 in the tens place. So I'm going to my tens place, so I'm going to put a 3 there. And I can tell that's it because here's an addition sign, and they have to be a sum of all those. Next one is 5 times 5 in the ones place. So I'm going to the ones place, so I'm putting a 5 there. And there's that sum. 2 in the 1/10ths place. So I'm coming to find the 1/10ths place, so I'm putting a 2 in there. Plus 7 in the 1/100ths place. So So I'm putting a 7 in the 1/100ths place. Plus 6 in the 1/1000ths place. So here's my thousandths place. Now I'm going to put a 6 there. Once again, here's our place value chart we're using. Now I'm looking at 9 times 100. So 9 in the hundredths place. So here's my hundredths place right here. So I'm going to put a 9 in there. That's 9 times 100. Plus 2 in the tens place. Here's my tens place right here. I'll put a 2 there. Plus 3 times 1/10. So I'm coming to the tenth spot. Notice this here, the decimal, that's the 1/10. This is how it's written. 0.1 is how it's written in decimal form, and that also equals 1/10. Because you can see this is this is a 1 in the tenths position. So we're gonna come over to our tenths position, and we're gonna put a 3 there. Now notice we have an open spot here because there were no ones, so they did not list it up here. So we have to put a placeholder in there. Plus 7 times 1/1000ths. And we can tell this is 1/1000ths because if we look down here, it would go 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, that's the thousandths place. And we're putting a 7 in that position. Once again, there were no hundredths, so they didn't list it in the expanded form. So we have to put a placeholder in there of a 0. Okay, I kind of like putting parentheses around my place values at this point. This is 5 times 1,000, or 5 in the thousandths position. So I'm going to find my thousandths position. I'm putting a 5 there. Here's a 4 in the hundredths position. I have an 8 in the ones position. Didn't list any tens, so I know there's a 0 there. I have a 6 in the 1/100ths position. So I'm going to the hundredths position, I'm putting a 6 there. Didn't list any tenths, so I'm going to put a 0. And the last one is a 5 in the 1/1000ths position. Now you notice here, my parentheses where I broke it apart did not include the addition sign. You don't have to do that, but I kind of like doing that because I can see each place value that way. Okay, question 5. At the beginning of a lesson, a piece of chalk is 4 and 875 thousandths inches long. At the end of the lesson, it is 3 and 125 thousandths inches long. Write two amounts in expanded form using fractions. Okay, that's a key word right there saying using fractions. So I'm going to go ahead. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the first number in my place value chart. So let's see, 4 is in the ones place, the 8 is in the tenths, the 7 is in hundredths, and the 5 is in the thousandths. And that's going to help me go in expanded form now, because I'm going to start off with my 4 times the place value, which is 1, plus my next place value is 8, so I'm going to go 8 times the place value, which is 1/10. Notice I'm using fractions, not the decimal numbers, because it's telling me to do it in fractions. Plus, coming down to the next one, that is a 7 times the place value was 1/100ths. Plus, and the last digit is 5, and the place value times 1/1000ths. Now the second part of the problem has us come down here, and we're going to do 3 and 125 thousandths. Once again, the 3 is in the ones place, so that's 3 times 1, plus, because it's the sum of all the digits, 1 times 1/10, plus, here's my 2, which is in the 1/100ths place, so 2 times 1/100ths, plus the last digit 5, and times 1/1000. Our last problem says Miss Herman asked the class to write an expanded form for 412 and 638 thousandths. Nancy wrote the expanded form using fractions, and Charles wrote the expanded form using decimals. Write their responses. So once again, I love using a place value chart, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in my number in the place value chart. Now, first one, I'm going to write the expanded form using fractions. And that's specifically talking about our decimal fractions on the end here. So I'm going to start off with 4 times 100 plus 1 times the tens place, because it's in the tens place, plus 2 times, and that's in the ones place, plus 6 times. Now I'm writing Nancy's, who did it in fractions, so I'm going to go 1/10 plus 3 times the 1/100ths plus 8 times 1/1000ths. And this one over here was Nancy. Now the second one was Charles. Now the first part of Charles is going to be exactly the same, because it's saying write it in decimals and fractions. So Charles is going to be pretty much the same, with 4 times 100 plus 1 times 10 plus 2 times 1 plus 6 times, okay, now this is where the difference. This is 1/10. So instead of fraction, we're going to write it, we're going to put a 1 in the tenths position, plus 3 times, on this one, we're going to put a 1 in the hundredths position, 0.01, plus, the last one I'm going to write down here, 8 times 1/1000ths. So I'm going to put a 1 in the thousandths position. That is the difference between writing them as a fraction and writing them as a decimal.